This program is brought to you by thepodcastfactory.com.
I know the whole kind of cliche is making money while you sleep, but literally because of the time zone, I'm in the UK when most people are watching my webinar, I'm actually asleep. So those sales come in during my sleep.
Hi, my name is Igor Kheifets, and this is The List Building Lifestyle, the only podcast which delivers cutting-edge conversion strategies from the online trenches straight to your earbuds. Download the transcript of today's episode and all future episodes at listbuildinglifestyleshow.com. I also invite you to grab a free copy of the Wealthy List Builder Survival Guide at listbuildinglifestyleshow.com/survival. And now, once again, it's time to claim your list building lifestyle. Welcome back to another edition of the List Building Lifestyle with your host, Igor Kheifets. And today I'm hosting no gurus and no, super accomplished marketing veterans or anything like that. Today, I'm speaking with my friend Richard Legg, who's well-to-do and secure. However, the key difference between Richard and other quote-unquote gurus is that he actually lives the kind of life that everyone wants to live. So if you've been online for more than 2 minutes, you've probably seen all these videos where people tell you, hey, I'm spending most of the time with my family. I make money on autopilot. My life is amazing. I spend lots of time with my kids, and my life is all about freedom and not business and blah, 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 blah. Well, the truth is that 99% of the time, that's bullshit. It's simply not true, because if anyone is making, $1 million or more a year, usually they have to hustle for it. They have to work 16-hour days. They have to manage teams. They have to come up with new offers and products. They just have to do all that stuff. Otherwise, the business won't produce that much money. Now, Richard, on the other hand, has been consistently pulling multiple six figures every single year while spending the lion's share of his day with his family. In fact, I don't think you work during the summertime, Rich, because your kids are not in school and kindergarten.
Yeah, that's pretty much true. I mean, I still check in. Obviously, I'm not totally removable from the business. But yeah, for me, the business is kind of a means to an end. It's, it brings in the money, but it gives me the freedom then to spend with my family, be at home with my kids, watch my kids grow, take them to school, pick them up, and just be there for them, really.
Wow, that's incredible. I mean, I remember experiencing lots and lots of anxiety and anger and guilt over the fact that when Erica was born, the first month she was born, I doubled my income. Now, obviously, when you double your income, guess what happens? The responsibilities double as well. So we run into all sorts of issues, and I didn't have a big team to share the workload with me. So basically, the first year, I didn't get to spend much time with her. And not that she missed me, of course, because all she was doing is, eating and pooping and sleeping. But I was like, is this going to go on forever? Will I ever be able to spend time with her? And that's been a major issue for me, when I became a parent. Now, you, on the other hand, ever since I've known you, you've been you've been laid back. You've worked very little, and you've always made enough money to keep food on the table and, to do everything that you want to do with your family. So do you mind sharing your story, and how did you end up building an automated business like that?
Yeah, definitely. So I guess it goes back a while now. I've been doing this about 10 years or so. But I got started when I was in university. I was studying for a physics degree. Didn't have much money growing up. So I had to work part-time during my degree. I ended up working like 20, 30 hours in just like a local sandwich bar while I was studying full-time as well. So that got pretty intense. So between college and the part-time job, I was doing 60, 70 hours a week. And, it's a minimum wage job, not much fun. So I started messing around. I've always been interested in computers and the internet. And at that point, I started trying to find a way to make some extra money online. I think it'd be easier. Didn't go too well at first. There's a lot of, back then at least, there was a lot of like pyramid schemes and like almost like MLM chain letter type stuff, which got my first PayPal account banned. But eventually I stumbled on info product creation and affiliate marketing. And I started doing some of that, started building a list, which, you preach is kind of all important. And doing affiliate marketing with the list and started creating my own info products. And so I was kind of learning as I was going, making mistakes as you do. But it got to the point by the end of my physics degree, I was able to replace the part-time job salary and have some extra kind of on the side as well. So the following year, I did a master's degree. We moved back to London. I did a one-year master's degree. And again, I was building the business up the whole time. And I got to the end of it. The end of my master's degree in physics, one of the professors said to me, hey, Richard, there's this really great job out in Stansted, which I don't know if you know London. It's like kind of an hour outside of London. And you get paid $16,000 a year. And he was really excited about telling me about this opportunity. I'm like, 16,000. I'm like, man, at that point, I was married to my wife. and we'd been married about a year at that point. But I wanted to have kids, I wanted to have a family, I wanted to have a nice home, and it was like, I can't do that on 16,000 a year. So fortunately, I was still working on the internet business at the same time, and it got to the point where I was finished for university and I had made my first 6 figures online. So I kind of said to my wife, look, I think I can make a go of this. And I have an amazing wife. She's completely supportive. And obviously she sees all the money going as well. She's like, yeah, totally go for this. So I was able to kind of go straight from university full time into the internet marketing world because I built it up as I was going along. I realized I was quite fortunate. Not everybody else is in that place because they start off with a mortgage and kids and everything, all that. To begin with, they have a lot more responsibility. But basically, I started doing that and building my own info products, creating more products, doing more affiliate marketing. And about 2 years after that, our first son was born. And up until that, the business for me, because it had been doing relatively well for someone who's like 24, 25 at the time, it kind of was more like a game almost, where I just wanted to see how many points I could score. Basically, every dollar was a point in my PayPal account. So that's kind of my motivation to begin with. But once our son was born, it was much more, okay, I have something that a lot of people don't have, and that's the ability to be home and be with my kid and watch them grow and be a real part of their life rather than getting up at like 6 a.m. commuting and getting home just in time to tuck them into bed. So I made a conscious effort then that I wanted to work the hours that allowed me to be a good dad and not just be working 24/7 hustling as all the gurus like to say. So I'm a big proponent of kind of systems and automation. And I think a lot of that comes from my physics background. I like to experiment with things and make things as efficient as possible. So I started building my business in such a way that I could automate as much as I could. And one of the things that really helped me with those is through automated webinars. Anybody listening to this, they've probably seen a webinar before, kind of like an online teleconference call where you go in and someone does a presentation. Typically, they present an offer or pitch at the end. And I started building automated versions of those. And once we moved back to the UK, this was really important for me because the target market is still very much in North America. So most of my audience would be based in America. And to do webinars, you typically want to do them in the evenings. So being in the UK, that would mean being up at like 1 or 2 a.m., do a webinar presentation. And that just didn't fit with my lifestyle at all. So with the automated webinars, I'm able to set those up and they run like essentially on autopilot 24/7. So I've had webinars running every day, literally every hour of every day for the past almost 4 years now. And I know the whole kind of cliche is making money while you sleep, but literally because of the time zone, I'm in the UK when most people are watching my webinar, I'm actually asleep. So those sales come in during my sleep. So it's been a massive boost for my business just to be able to do this. And it's given me the flexibility and the freedom just to spend that time with my family as well, which for me is the most important thing.
Wow, that's insane. Of course, your journey sounds really, really, like when you sum it up like that, it sounds like you just went from nothing to making 6 figures very, very quickly. But I'm sure there were challenges along the way. Now, what were some of the challenges you've faced with the creation of the automated webinar? I
think the biggest thing for me was putting the work in initially, because I'd say for a regular webinar, you can kind of put it together and then present it. And then I don't say there's very little you need to do, but once you get the presentation created, like in a PowerPoint, that's it. You can just go on then live and do the presentation. With the automated webinar, there's kind of a lot more initial work to set it up. And particularly one of the things that's really important for getting as many sales as possible and maximizing conversions is having some kind of scarcity tied into the offer. It's one of the biggest motivating factors for people to take action. So, but because this webinar is running every day, it's not like a real live webinar where I can say, okay, this comes down Sunday night at midnight and that's it. And then with a live webinar, you can do that because it's Sunday night, you can flip the switch and it's done. But with a webinar, it's running 24/7. So I didn't want to mislead people by putting in false scarcity, just some random countdown timer that resets. So there was a lot of work that went in to make sure that not only was the presentation good, but that the offer it offered genuine scarcity, so that I could make that offer with the scarcity and it was real. So everything is set up so that each lead goes through. They have basically their own unique deadline. So if they go through it on a Monday, the deadline could be on a Thursday. If someone else goes through it on a Tuesday, the deadline could be on a Friday. So there's a lot more work to set up, but I feel I'm more comfortable basically knowing that I can sleep well at night, knowing that I'm not misleading people or lying to people. And so there's definitely a lot more initial setup work. But the thing is, like I said, I have a webinar running every day, every hour of every day for the past 4 years. So for me, even if it took 2-3 times as long to set up initially, the long-term payoff is just a complete no-brainer for me, really.
Wow. Well, as somebody who's doing webinars occasionally, I'm not big on webinars. I really don't like doing them because, like you said, I have to do it, during evening time, US, and That means like in the middle of the night for me. And my wife ain't happy about that. And then the next day is just all messed up for me. Of course, because my biological clock can't really handle it anymore. I'm almost 30 now. So, I completely get where you're coming from. I see why it's really not a big deal to put in more work at first so you can have this automation. And you've had this automation now for 4 years. So, work once, profit for a decade or half a decade. It's great. Now, many of our listeners aren't technical and they never done a webinar before. They've been to webinars and they're probably going to like weekly webinars with their team. So do you mind sharing what are some of the bigger pitfalls for a beginner when it comes to webinar? What have you stumbled into, and what were some of the challenges you had to overcome when you were setting it up?
I think just getting to grips with the technology can be tricky if you're not used to it. When I first started out, there was the one I used was a product called Evergreen Business System, which has been kind of superseded by EverWebinar, and there's other ones like Stealth Seminar too. But that one, it was built by a programmer, so it was very, very in depth and it was very thorough. But that also meant there was a lot of moving parts to it. So I think it's like anything where there are too many moving parts. It's easy if one of those parts is out of place, then the whole thing kind of falls down. So the technical side of things can definitely be something that's kind of a stumbling block. I think with a lot of the newer softwares that are out there, they've made this a lot easier. And a lot of them come with pre-made templates and all that kind of stuff. So you can create all the pages you need to, where you just edit the pages as if you were editing a text file. So that makes it a lot easier for people. But yeah, I think the technology is getting the technology working is one of the main pitfalls. And I think getting the right offer, this is true for other webinars too, but making sure your offer is something that people actually want to purchase, and getting the follow-up sequence as well in place. A lot of people I've seen go to try set up an automated webinar and they just throw up a video and they think that's their automated webinar. But the thing is, what I try and make sure that I do is that I'm modeling a live webinar as much as possible. The webinar is a great sales tool. It's one of the best tools for making sales that I've ever come across. But the key with an automated webinar is to make it work in the same way as a live webinar if you want to get the same kind of results. So you still want to make it an event-based webinar, so people are they're anticipating being able to attend the webinar. You want to make sure there's a solid follow-up sequence in place with actual real scarcity. So even once they've finished the webinar, not everybody's going to buy it on the webinar. A lot of the buyers will come through the replay sequence and the kind of the closing sequence. So you want to make sure you have all that in place too. So that can be quite daunting when you're first starting out. And to be honest, the webinar I have now, it's not something that worked as well as it does today. Initially, it's something that's evolved and I've kind of built onto it and just improved it over time. So yeah, there are a lot of different moving parts to it, and that can be tricky. But the way I recommend people do it is just get something up there first, and then you can see how well it works. Then you can adapt it and model it or evolve it to model something that's working better. You don't have to get it perfect first time. Just get it up there and then improve it as you go.
Well, there's a few things you mentioned which I want to circle back to because they're of really, really tremendous value. First off, you said that the webinar won't work without scarcity, and that's the one element you couldn't ignore, and you had to make it work in an organic way, in an ethical way, in an honest way, in order for the offer to convert, right?
Yeah.
So that's important. So scarcity, we've spoke about scarcity many times on the show. I devoted a specific episode to scarcity. So guys, make sure you go back and listen if you still haven't learned the reason why everything you sell has to be scarce. You simply won't work other way around. Now, the other thing you mentioned is that offer is key, which means if you're selling something that people don't want to buy, you can put on scarcity, you can do a really slick webinar, but they simply will not pull out their credit cards. So what's your thinking process? What's your thought process on developing an offer? What do you feel people are looking for in our industry? Like how does that work?
So typically, yeah, you can look at what's currently selling already. There's a lot of marketplaces, particularly in our industries like Warrior Plus, JVZoo, ClickBank to an extent as well. So you can see the kind of offers that are selling. One thing I've found, particularly in the internet marketing or make money online market, is people want shortcuts as much as possible. They want the dollars falling in their lap without having to do anything, which isn't possible, but you can kind of make things easier. So they don't want necessarily do all the work themselves. So the main offer that we sell is a done for you service. So where we take something that we've built and it's already proven to work, and then we kind of give them something that they can use themselves to work. And one of the best ways to find out what people are looking for as well is to survey them. They won't always tell you exactly what they want. Sometimes they'll tell you what they want, but what they actually need is something different. But as an example, I just actually did a kind of a mini survey to my list just this week, actually. And I posed a question, what would you prefer, to be able to, have the trainings to learn how to do everything yourself, or just to have someone else do it for you, and then kind of pay a premium based around that. And I kind of thought that the done for you was going to be the winner, but the results were astounding. That 95% of people who responded chose the done for you option. That was what they would prefer. So right there, that's a great indicator of something that people will want, and kind of just validates what I'm thinking. People want the done for you service, because there's no shortage of information online, particularly now. I mean, when I started, it was a lot different, but now there are so many people, there are so many new product launches every single day. There's no shortage of information, but it's the implementation, which I think holds people back. And so offering something like a done for you service, it kind of takes away a lot of those extra steps for people and gives them something that they can use as well. And the benefit of that is why it's often something that can get people results quicker. And so that helps me when I'm selling something, knowing that people are able to use it and able to get results with it. Otherwise, it can be quite disheartening to sell an information product and know that, X amount of people are just going to leave it there on their digital shelf, just kind of gathering dust. So yeah, surveys are a great way to kind of find out what the market wants. And obviously, you can start with lower priced offers as well and see how that goes, and then kind of evolve into a bigger package. So I didn't start off selling $2,000 packages. My first, info products were like $10, but it's something you grow into over time.
Well, I never shared this, but one of the first affiliate marketing successes I've ever had was placing your product, the Instant Traffic Shortcuts banner ad, on my thank you page. So when I developed my first $7 product, which was called Marketing Leverage or something, or Affiliate Leverage or something like that, something stupid, trust me. I sold it for $7. I didn't have any upsells, and I had the download page. I wasn't even building a buyer's list, believe it or not, but I was just, I just put people on the download page after they paid me with PayPal, and then I had your banner ad, which basically was a traffic product that taught how to sniper launch or launch snipe, where you put up like a very simple WordPress blog for a low competition keyword. And that's how you drive some traffic and make some sales, as long as you target the buyer keywords, right? So believe it or not, I was converting to your product about 60%. So 60% of the people who purchased my $7 offer ended up purchasing your $9.99 offer as well. And that was tremendous for me. I think I made like 30-something sales over a course of 40-something days. And that was unreal. I mean, I never experienced such success. And this allowed me to reach out to you for the first time because, I put you on the pedestal at the time because you had, an amazing product. You had testimonials from guys like Jit Upal and others, So you seemed like a huge guru to me. And I remember emailing you and I'm like, hey, Richard, name is Igor, and I sold 30-something copies of your product. I was hoping you could reciprocate by promoting my product to your list. And, you said yes, and you promoted, and you made like 11 sales when you blasted to your list. That was like one of the most memorable days of my career. Man, this is, now that you're kind of sharing these stories, for some reason, just comes up for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I mean, it's going back a while, but yeah, I think that's how we kind of got in touch first. And yeah, I mean, the whole thing with that as well, that's another kind of strategy to the automation side of the business, or is finding ways that you can network with other marketers and kind of cross promote each other's stuff and integrate offers in different download areas and stuff like that. And that's been one of the keys to kind of building the webinar that I have, is just finding other people who want to share the offer that I have. I mean, the great thing about it is because it takes a lot of work to produce, there are not that many people who will go through the effort of producing their own automated webinar like this. So, but at the same time, they still want some extra income. So a lot of people are happy to promote my webinar for an affiliate commission, because then I've done all the work, the hard work, get things set up, and they just basically have to put a link on their download page. And they may not get as much as if they did it themselves, but they could still get some money. And a lot of people are just happy to throw that in there and get some income from that.
Dude, but you're paying great commissions. Come on. I mean, most people can't even dream of that. You're paying, I think, $400 a sale.
Yes, there's 400 on or 800 for a larger package. And yeah, and the thing is, I want to reward the affiliates. The way I think about it is, if the affiliates are happy, they're going to promote more, which means more, revenue long term for my business. So I could, skimp on the affiliate commissions and make some money, but I'd rather have 50% of a lot rather than 90% of very little. So it's just one of those kind of strategies that I use, is try and get people promoting, make sure they're paid well, make sure they're happy, and they're going to keep promoting. We've had some affiliates who have kind of integrated the offer and they've had it in for like 3 years. So they don't send a huge amount of traffic all at once, But over 3 years, a couple of visitors every day, that adds up. And then you get, a nice commission check each month. I get kind of regular subscribers added to my list, regular sales. And yeah, all you need to do is kind of duplicate that with a few people, and then you've got a pretty consistent source of traffic and revenue coming in. And again, I don't have to keep doing webinars for every single person, one webinar a week, even whatever. It's all on autopilot. So the one thing I would say about automated webinars is that typically they convert at a lower rate than a live webinar, because you too miss that live interaction that you have on the call. So for questions and answer sessions, you can really do that very well with an automated webinar. You can have kind of someone attending a chat that you can kind of fill out that way, or but if I'm sleeping as well, I'm not going to be on the chat. So there is a lower conversion rate overall, but I've found the upside for me is that I don't have to be on there at all. So any conversion rate, it's a good conversion rate if I'm not on there. So yeah, that's just one thing to bear in mind. It's not always the same as a live webinar, but if you've got webinars running every single day, it still kind of takes care of things.
Well, so what you're saying is you've done the work once, you developed an automated webinar, you have other people drive the traffic for you, and you don't have to buy advertising, so it's all free traffic. You only pay them if they make sales, and you pay them good money while still having enough money left over for you to profit comfortably and be a great dad and provide for your family. And you do all that while your list grows on autopilot. Is that true?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So I mean, it's quite the machine now. I think I've got in place. That definitely took a lot of work to get there and to improve it to the point where it is. But now I know that I have something that works, so it's a lot easier to go out to other people and say, hey, this person here got these results with it. Would you be interested? And even with terms of customers, I know customers have got results with it, so I'm able to kind of tweak the webinar and feed that back in. So now I have that social proof to add to the presentation. So that helps the conversions even more when they can see that other regular people have used it and made sales too. So even though I did the setup work once and there's a lot of work, it's still kind of constantly evolving. I'm trying to improve it. And one of the things I do as well is with the follow-up sequence. So after someone goes through the main webinar sequence, the whole sequence can take up to about 7 days, depending on kind of when they register for the webinar. After that, I have the list of subscribers. Majority of them won't have purchased a $2,000 package, but that doesn't mean they wouldn't be interested in something else. So I spend my time now kind of building out the follow-up sequence with other relevant offers and create them in an automated way as well, and make sure that those offers have the same kind of scarcity. So if you've ever seen kind of the product launch model, so Jeff Walker made that kind of famous, where you have a week-long launch period between pre-launch, live, and closing. And obviously there's that kind of huge push towards the end. So again, I try to model that, but in an automated way, so that every lead who goes into the webinar also goes through that evergreen product launch sequence at the end. And every product that I add to the end of the follow-up just adds more and more revenue to the overall funnel. So with each product that I add, the revenue per lead that comes in increases. And the good thing about that is, well, when I do kind of broadcast promos, so if there's someone I'm promoting, rather than having the automated follow-up, I'm just doing a regular promotion, like a broadcast blast to my list. If I find a product that works really, really well in that context, then I will take that and kind of switch it around and turn that into an evergreen follow-up promo that I can add to the back-end sequence as well. Because typically most product launches will have a finite end date. So, it could be Sunday at midnight, this product closes. But then you can model that in an evergreen way and have that in the follow-up sequence again. So there's still a finite period for each lead to take action. And again, it's that scarcity, which just really helps conversions. But I'm building the sequence as much as I can, knowing that each product I add is going to add more revenue to it.
Wow. So I want to go back a little bit. You mentioned something, and that is that having your own offer, having your own product, having something that you're selling allowed you to create the leverage by approaching other people and offering commission in exchange for promoting it. So that, of course, became the primary traffic source for your business. And you basically have all these people send you traffic daily, and you don't have to worry about it. So there's a big secret to success in this industry. I mentioned earlier that my first affiliate success came from putting your product on the back of my product. Now you're saying that creating an automated webinar offer allowed you to have all these other people go to work for you and get paid when they make sales. And this is actually one of the reasons why, people kind of skyrocket to superstardom. They all create their own products. They all create their own offers. And by doing so, they not only position themselves as experts. Like I said, when I first saw your sales page and I never heard of you before, I was like, oh man, this guy seems super pro. He has testimonials. He's got income proof screenshots. He's got this long sales letter like all the gurus have. He must be super out there, But the reality was, you're just a guy, just like me, who were a little bit ahead in the game. And, the persona that this offer created for you, in my mind, was this amazing guru that sits on the top of the mountain. So, one of the biggest secrets that I feel you guys should walk away with from this call is the fact that if you create your own offers, if you create an offer, even just one offer, and you can put it in the marketplace and people can find it, you instantly raise yourself head and shoulders above the crowd of people that try to sell something, like to just push business opportunities or try to sign you up into an MLM program. You become an expert. You become somebody who is qualified enough to charge money for what they got to say.
Yeah, you get that instant authority and credibility. And I think as well, people are just starting out, they think, well, what do I know? But I think the truth is, if you've been online for any amount of time, you already know more than people who are just starting out. So there's definitely some knowledge you can share. But even if you feel you don't have the knowledge that you can put into a product and package together, one of the easiest ways of doing it is just interview other experts. And then you naturally get that kind of expert by association. I know there's quite a few people who have done that. They've taken maybe 5 to 10 different marketers. They've interviewed them on their specialty. And then just by being associated with them, they kind of, some of that credibility rubs off on them. And obviously then it's their product, they're packaging it, they're putting their face and name on the sales page. And then that's one of the easiest products you can create. And it's very, very, not time intensive at all. It's very easy to create. And you're basically leveraging other people's expertise to help raise your own profile. So yeah, there's definitely no reason why somebody can't come out with a product. It obviously takes some work, but I think that, this day and age, it's so easy to come out with a product and build a presence online compared to even 10 years ago. It's a lot more difficult, especially with the technology. So there's nothing to stop people going out there and finding just 1 or 2 people to interview. And then even if you feel you have to give it away for free, if you feel you can't charge for it, just having your name out there on a product, it goes a long way to establishing that credibility. And like you say, other people are going to look up to you. People who are just starting out, they haven't got a clue. They see you, your name and your picture there, and you have a product and a sales page. And yeah, it just makes them see that, okay, this person knows what he's talking about. They know they're going to trust you.
This is so key. This is so key. And, creating a product might seem like the easiest thing in the world for you and me. In fact, I'm interviewing right now, right? I can package this into a product and call it something on the lines of automated webinar, the introduction to automated webinars. Easily can sell this for $47. But, when I started out, I was in the same situation as you were, as all the other people are, and I didn't have any credibility going on. I didn't have enough experience to put, my own product together. So that's exactly what I've done. I went out and I interviewed people and I consumed other people's information. I packaged it as my own words. My first report that I sold successfully, the one that I sold and then offered your product on the back, that was just a 13-page PDF report, which, I plagiarized from, Ape and Pagan, Frank Kern, and Ryan Dice collectively. So, I just delivered that in my own words. So that's one of the principles of success in this industry. It's very common. You see it everywhere if you know what to look for. Guys like Anik Singhal, Jim McKim, pretty much everybody, they all have done it. In fact, Frank Kern did it as well. I think he went out to interview somebody and then he transcribed the entire conversation and read it out loud or something to a microphone and packaged it as a product on parrot training or something like that, like some weird niche. So here's the point. While to guys like you and me, right, it might seem easy. And we got this curse of knowledge, if you will, about creating products because we've done it so many times. For a beginner, this ain't easy because of the mental element, because they don't feel they're qualified. They don't feel they're allowed to. But the reality is there's nobody that can stop you from creating a product, and there is no one's permission you need that you might need, to create it. So when you were creating the instant traffic shortcuts, your first successful product, what was going through your head? How did you overcome this barrier?
I think for me, that wasn't actually one of my first products. So I think that one was a little bit easier for me. But when I first started out, the first thing that I ever kind of really created, it was a free report. So I created a free report based on what I was doing to get some affiliate commissions. So I didn't feel at the time that I could charge for my report. So I had a free report, which I gave away. And then once someone signed up for that, I had a special offer for a collection of resale rights products. So there are a bunch of products that other people had created and they'd licensed out. So I paid a fee. And in return, that gave me the right to be able to sell these to other people. So that's how I kind of built my first site, was creating a free report based on something I was doing, something I knew about. And then I monetized it by using other people's products that I had bought the rights to. And this for me was a great kind of segue into it because I didn't have to create my own product and then worry, oh, what if people don't like this? And, I don't want people asking for a refund if it's rubbish, whatever. So I could actually give it away for free to get that subscriber onto my email list and feel, okay, well, if they don't like it, at least they've not paid me for it. And, it's the free thing. But then I had other people's products, which I thought, these are good products. I can sell these. And then that was fine. So that was a way for me to build a list and monetize at the same time. And then when it came to creating like the instant traffic shortcuts, that one was based on mostly my own proof. So I'm a big believer in using proof as a sales tool. And I don't like creating stuff or selling stuff unless I know that it works. So typically most of the things I've created are based around methods that I've used myself. So I know that it works. So I can feel comfortable selling it. I'm not just kind of rehashing theory and throwing something out there just to make a quick buck. So with the traffic product, it was based on the things that I was doing. So I kind of documented the process. I took screenshots of the search engine rankings I was getting, took screenshots of the affiliate commissions I was getting as a result of that. And so in a way, it was relatively easy to create the product based around that because I was just explaining to people what I was doing. So I used a program, Camtasia, which records your screen. So I would go through the process of what I would do to set up one of these sites and start getting some links to it and start getting some traffic to it. And so it's a very, very simple video. It's about 90 minutes total kind of video training, goes through the whole process. So in a sense, that was a really easy product to create because I was just showing people what I was already doing. And then even with the sales page, it's a case of showing, well, here's what I've done. Here's the proof that it's worked for me. And then as more people used it, I got feedback and testimonials from them that it worked for them too. And I was able to update the sales page with those testimonials. But at the very basic, it was just a video showing what I was doing, and the sales page showed the results that I'd got with it. So that's kind of all you need to start out, really. It doesn't have to be a big, huge product with lots and lots of proof and testimonials. You can add those things in over time as you get it. And I think the key is just to get something up there. You don't have to wait for it to be perfect before you get it live.
You don't have to get it right. You just have to get it going. As my friend Dan Hockman says. So, cool. Rich, one last thing. There's so many people listening to this show that they've got access to traffic. They're marketers. They always love to make money with affiliate programs. So where can they go to sign up for your program? Because I know it's a private program and you manually improve each and every applicant. So where can they go to apply, and what do they need to tell you in order to get approved?
So yeah, if they wanted to kind of promote the webinar, you can go to 100kjv.com. So that's 100k and then jv.com. And that will take them to the kind of registration page. They can get in touch, tell us a little about how you intend to promote. Like, do you have your own products or how are you going to do it? If you're going to send a bunch of traffic from AdFly, then don't bother applying. But if somebody wants to go through and actually see the webinar as well and see the process as well, if you go to igorwebinar.com, I just registered that domain so people can easily type that in and then go to the webinar registration page. So you can see the webinar, see how I set things up, watch the presentation too, and kind of get a feel for how an automated webinar works and how kind of the evergreen kind of scarcity and stuff like that works as well.
Oh, wow. Thank you. igorwebinar.com to see the webinar, and 100kjv.com, that's 100kjv.com to sign up as an affiliate and make $800 or $400 per sale. Guys, per automated sale that the webinar closes for you. Easy money, trust me. I've been a member of Rich's program. I don't think I've been promoting lately, kind of moved into a different direction. However, I remember there was one other thing that you're doing. Do you still do the whole affiliate bonus thing where if you make 5 sales or 4 sales, you throw in another one for free?
Yes, if you make 5 sales in your first month, you get a 2,000 cash bonus.
See? So this guy's too generous. Too generous.
Happy affiliates. Yeah, I mean, regular affiliates.
It's like affiliate Christmas over here. Yep. So, Richard, thank you so much for taking the time out of your not so busy day to do this with me. Thank God for school, right? So we had time to sit down. I appreciate you doing this. Thank you so much for sharing. And until next time we talk, have a good one.
You too. Thanks a lot, man.
Thank you for listening to The List Building Lifestyle. Make sure to subscribe on iTunes or Google Play to never miss an episode. Because who knows, just one conversion tactic we share on the show might double your list and double your business. Download the transcript of today's episode and all future episodes at listbuildinglifestyleshow.com. And don't forget to claim your complimentary copy of the Wealthy List Builder Survival Guide at listbuildinglifestyleshow.com/survival. This is Igor Kheifets, and until next time we talk, have a good one.
This is the podcastfactory.com.